Philippines ship on routine patrol stumbles upon a China vessel. What follows is a high-stakes maritime standoff, shrouded in uncertainty and tension. Join us as we unravel the events that transpire next. As the Philippines ship draws near, tensions escalate. Both sides eye each other warily, aware of the geopolitical implications of this encounter. The crew members stand at the ready, prepared for any eventuality. This is Philippine territory. You are trespassing. These waters belong to China. We have every right to be here. Radar screens light up with the proximity of the two vessels. The Philippines ship maintains its course, unwilling to back down. Meanwhile, the China vessel stands its ground, refusing to yield. Surrounded by the boundless expanse of the South China Sea, the standoff continues, each side weighing their options, aware that a single misstep could have far-reaching consequences. Helicopter cameras capture the tension on board both vessels. Crew members stand at the ready, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the situation. The world watches, holding its breath, as the standoff reaches a critical juncture. The Philippines has accused China of harassment and aggression in the South China Sea, with the latest incident involving Chinese Coast Guard ships blocking and colliding with Philippine Coast Guard vessels. The Philippines has vowed to defend its claims in the area, including the Second Thomas Shoal, where a Philippine warship has been intentionally grounded to maintain the country's sovereignty. The United States has reiterated its commitment to defend the Philippines under a 1951 mutual defense treaty, warning that it will not allow China to make Philippine Coast Guard personnel escalate tensions. The Philippines has also reported incidents of Chinese ships harassing Filipino fishing vessels within its exclusive economic zone. In response to these incidents, the Philippines will host joint naval and air drills with the US, Japan, and Australia in the disputed area, as it seeks to deepen ties with its allies to counter China's growing assertiveness in the region. What is the Balikatan warship, and what is its purpose? The Balikatan warship is a Philippine Navy vessel that has been involved in recent incidents with Chinese Coast Guard ships in the South China Sea. The Philippines has accused China of harassment and aggression in the area, with the latest incident involving Chinese Coast Guard ships blocking and colliding with Philippine Coast Guard vessels. The Philippines has vowed to defend its claims in the area, including the Second Thomas Shoal, where a Philippine warship has been intentionally grounded to maintain the country's sovereignty. The number of Chinese vessels has increased in the West Philippine Sea amid Balikatan, the joint military exercise of the Philippines and the United States, the Philippine Navy said on Tuesday. Our monitoring for the past 2 months for March and April has given us a fairly constant, from a low of 33 and a high of 69, and average of 60 various vessels of China, Philippine Navy spokesperson for the WPS Commodore Roy Vincent Trinidad said in a press conference. Only for this week that we have seen a surge of up to a total of 124. 3 People's Liberation Army Navy, Plan, and China Coast Guard having 10. This coincides with Balikatan. This upsurge is out of the normal, he added. Trinidad also pointed out a huge surge in the number of Chinese maritime militia vessels in the WPS, particularly in Bajo de Masinloc and Pagasa Island. There was a surge in the maritime militia, from the previous 2 weeks, 69, 50, to 110. So there is a surge in the presence of maritime militia, specifically in Bajo de Masinloc and Pagasa. As part of the exercise, Philippine and U.S. troops are set to sink the XBRP Lake Calaraya, a decommissioned Philippine Navy replenishment tanker, through a variety of weapons. Trinidad pointed out that the target ship being a Chinese-made vessel is just a coincidence. This is after Chinese government-supported publication Global Times called the activity a ridiculous stunt. China claims almost the entire South China Sea, a conduit for more than $3 trillion in annual ship commerce. Its territorial claims overlap with those of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. The South China Sea has been a hotly disputed region for decades, with several countries, including China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei, having overlapping claims to the resource-rich and busy waterway. The latest confrontation between China and the Philippines has sparked concerns of a larger conflict that could put China and the United States on a collision course. The Philippines has been asserting its rights in the disputed sea, with the latest incident involving a water cannon assault by the Chinese Coast Guard that injured Filipino Navy crew members and heavily damaged their boat near the disputed Second Thomas Shoal. The Philippines has lodged its strongest protest against Beijing, summoning a senior Chinese diplomat and demanding that Chinese ships immediately leave the waters around Second Thomas Shoal, which lies in the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The United States has been strengthening its alliances in the Indo-Pacific region, including with the Philippines, and has warned repeatedly that it's obligated to defend the Philippines if Filipino forces, ships, or aircraft come under an armed attack, including in the South China Sea. The U.S. has also been conducting freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging China's claims to virtually the entire sea. China has been building up its military presence in the South China Sea by building on reefs, including the disputed Scarborough Shoal, which it effectively seized from the Philippines in 2012. The Philippines has been seeking to assert its sovereignty over disputed areas, including the Second Thomas Shoal, which has been occupied by a small contingent of Filipino Navy and Marines on a Marunid warship since 1999. The U.S. and the Philippines have been conducting joint military exercises and patrols in the South China Sea, with the latest joint patrol being conducted in waters near Taiwan. The Philippines has also been building a new port with U.S. funding on its northern Batanes Islands, which could play an important role in defense, particularly in the event of a conflict involving Taiwan. The situation in the South China Sea has sparked fears of a larger conflict that could put China and the United States on a collision course. The U.S. has warned repeatedly that it's obligated to defend the Philippines if Filipino forces, ships, or aircraft come under an armed attack, including in the South China Sea. The U.S. has also been strengthening its alliances in the Indo-Pacific region, including with the Philippines, and has been conducting freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging China's claims to virtually the entire SC. As tensions reach a boiling point, a decision is made. The Philippines ship and the China vessel slowly disengage, sailing away from each other. But the implications of this encounter linger, casting a shadow over the geopolitics of the South China Sea. What happens next in this ongoing saga remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. In the vast waters of the South China Sea, the stakes have never been higher.